Well, last week I talked about what I thought were important survival skill categories. This week I'm going to talk about prepping skills. And I'd like to read you a quote from a science fiction author that I read a lot when I was young, and I actually got to meet one day, and he signed my copy of A Moon is a Harsh Mistress. Robert A. Heinlein. Quote, "A human being should be able to change a diaper, plan an invasion, butcher a hog, con a ship, design a building, write a sonnet, balance accounts, build a wall, set a bone, comfort the dying, take orders, give orders, cooperate, act alone, solve equations, analyze a new problem, pitch manure, program a computer, cook a tasty meal, fight efficiently, die gallantly. Specialization is for insects." Well, I really think that's true for prepping, right? The more skills we have, the better. So when I'm talking about prepping skills, I think the difference from survival skills are something we need when we're in the midst of an SHTF. And prepping skills are the things we do to prepare in case we're ever in the midst of an SHTF. And it doesn't involve just skills, it also involves supplies. So let's look at each category that I mentioned last week and see what that means for prepping skills. So I changed the description on this slide a bit. Last week it was called survival mindset, this week prepping mindset. And what I'm talking about is the ability to analyze and the ability to predict and to know what supplies, what skills, and what knowledge you might need for threats that you think could happen in the future. So prepping mindset is preparing for the future. It's preparing for the unknown. So number 2, that ability to maintain core body temperature. Well, here again, some of it is supplies. You want wood for your fireplaces, or for if you have a wood burning stove, you want to have a good stockpile of wood. Maybe propane if you have one of the portable heaters. Maybe a lot of blankets, maybe sleeping bags that are below zero certified. And I'm thinking more like the north, because if you look around me you see still snow. But if you're in the south, maybe you need to do things so you don't get too hot. And I heard there's things like swamp coolers and maybe battery fans, not sure quite what, but you want to have any supply that would help you in that area. And of course, fire building skills. Okay, number 3 was the ability to have drinking water. And of course, you want to have supply of water on hand. That might be bottled water you're keeping cases of in your basement. You might have a rain barrel system where you're catching water. You might have big barrels of water that you're storing in your garage. Or maybe you daily use a Berkey filter and have, like I do, creek right out there, I do have access to water. So whatever it is, in this case, you want to have the supplies you need for water and the way to purify and filter water. So the next one is medical, first aid. And here, knowledge is really important. Do you know how to do CPR? Have you taken first aid training? Do you have supplies such as tourniquets and a lot of bandages and various maybe sutures and various other medical supplies that could come in handy? Do you store fish antibiotics? So here it's about supplies and knowledge and skills. And for safety, again, it is about knowledge and supplies. And your supplies might be your weapons, right? What do you have to defend yourself? And then what training have you taken to use those implements? Do you have a perimeter warning system? And of course, do you have plenty of flashlights? Because preppers have to have flashlights. And light helps your safety. So you want to make sure that you have a lot of flashlights also. Okay, the ability for food. So for prepping with food, it is about supplies. You want to make sure that you have food stored. Could be that you've bought freeze-dried food, maybe canned food from the store. Maybe you're canning your own food or dehydrating food and putting that on your shelves. But then you also need a way to cook that food, and maybe you have a solar cooker, a butane cooker, you plan on using your grill, whatever. But you have to have cooking methods, and preferably more than just one. But from a longer viewpoint, you should be able to renew that food source. So if you're able, you might keep chickens and rabbits for food source, or even larger livestock. And you might garden yourself, or you actually have a farm. But if you have your own garden where you're growing veggies, and then you have fruit trees planted and berries and other things that you can preserve and use all winter long. So in this area, your prepping skills is more about just what supplies you have. You have to know how to cook them. You have to have the ability to cook them. And then you have to have the ability to replenish those supplies. Okay, the next one is that hide and seek, the ability to be found or not found. Well, from a prepping point of view, it might be that you've put caches on your property or along your bug out route, so you have caches of supplies and food that you might need, so you're hiding that. It might be that you have a ghillie suit, so you can blend in the environment where you are. It could be that you have that black fabric to put over all your windows, so it blacks out, no light goes out of your house, so it's harder to find or see what's inside. But you also might want to be found depending on what's happening. Let's say it's an earthquake and you're trapped in your basement. Well, then a whistle comes in handy. So there are supplies also that come in handy. Or maybe you want to have contact with others, and then being a ham radio operator is important. Anyway, just my idea of the difference between survival and prepping skills, but how they all kind of fit in the same general categories. Love to hear what your thoughts are. Please comment below. As always, thank you so much for listening. This is Potpourri saying please subscribe, share the knowledge, and thumbs up if you like this video.